Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're heading to the Himalayas.
The Himalayas? Wow, okay.
Yeah. Our listener has sent us some really interesting sources about daily life in Himachal Pradesh, specifically Kullu, Manali, and Lahaul. So get ready for, stunning landscapes and, a peek into how people actually live and work in these totally different settings.
That's quite the range, too. From what I glanced at the sources, we've got, like, modern tech stuff, tourism hustle, and then, like, serious farming.
You got it. We're talking tech job in Kullu,
Yeah.
hotel owner in Manali, and a large-scale farmer in Lahaul. Like, right off the bat, that surprised me. I don't usually picture huge farms when I think of the Himalayas.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm picturing, like, those little terraced fields clinging to the mountainsides, not some massive operation.
Right, but the source on this farmer is very specific. We're talking big acreage, big potential income, and it's got me wondering, like, what are they even growing up there at that scale?
Well, potatoes, peas, barley, apparently. Which, I mean, okay, that makes sense. But, like, how stable is the demand for that? Are they shipping it all over India? That's a logistical puzzle in itself.
Oh, totally. And then there's the livestock angle, too.
Yeah.
Right? The source mentions yaks, sheep, cattle. Not your typical farm animals, at least not for most of us.
Not for me. Makes you wonder, like, what those markets look like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, are we thinking this farmer's living a pretty good life? Or is it all just, backbreaking work with little reward? I'll dig into that.
Yeah, for sure. And, while the farmer thing has me intrigued, gotta admit, that tech job in Kullu sounds pretty tempting, too. Morning walks in nature, working with a view. That's got a certain appeal,
Right. It does paint a pretty idyllic picture. I mean, who wouldn't want to trade in that, that city grind for Himalayan tranquility?
Right. But, and here's the thing, right? Kullu is not exactly some tech hub. It's more like remote work meets mountain life, which honestly sounds awesome. But is it sustainable?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? The source mentions salaries between 30,000 and 80,000 rupees a month, which, well, that's not Silicon Valley money.
Definitely not. And we'd have to factor in the cost of living in Kullu. Could you live comfortably on, say, 50,000 rupees a month? Probably. But could you, like, build a future? Save up? Maybe not so much.
So it's that classic trade-off then, tranquility versus ambition.
Maybe. Or maybe it's just a different kind of ambition, one that prioritizes, well-being and a slower pace of life.
Okay, so Kullu, nature and chill. Now let's jump to the other end of the spectrum, Manali, tourist central, and our source on the hotel owner there.
Talk about a multitasker's dream, or maybe nightmare. Managing staff, logistics, dealing with all sorts of tourists, even like adventure sports booking.
Yeah, I saw that. It sounds exhausting, honestly, but also like kind of exciting, so much variety, you're never bored, and the income potential, wow, we're talking 2 lakhs to 10 lakhs rupees per month. That's serious money. Yeah, but it's always a but, right? I mean, that's a huge range. Clearly, there's a lot of fluctuation depending on the season. You're at the mercy of, well, tourists. And what about all those expenses? A hotel that size, got to be massive overhead, staffing, utilities, marketing.
Oh, for sure. Plus, Manali is all about the experience. You got to keep things top-notch, constantly upgrading, staying ahead of the competition. That all costs money.
Right. And the source mentioned a profit margin between 20% and 50%. Now, that sounds great on paper, but
once you factor in those expenses, the fluctuating tourist flow, it's a high-risk, high-reward situation.
yeah, you got to have a certain personality, I think, to thrive in that kind of environment. High stress, high energy, always on.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Not for the faint of heart.
Makes you wonder what kind of person thrives in that, that kind of pressure cooker.
Yeah, like, are they drawn to the chaos? Or do they just, like, become masters of managing it?
Maybe a bit of both. But okay, so we've got the techie in Kullu seeking that work-life zen, and then the go-getter hotel owner in Manali riding the tourism wave. Now let's head to Lahaul, where things seem, well, a lot quieter.
Yeah, back to the large-scale farmer.
Yeah.
I gotta admit, this is the one I'm having the hardest time wrapping my head around. It's like this clash of images,
Oh.
the Himalayas, this ancient kind of spiritual place, and then bam, huge modern farm. It just doesn't compute.
Right. It definitely challenges those, those stereotypical images we have. But let's break it down. So big farm, big income potential, right? The source said what, like 5 to 20 lakhs rupees per year?
Something like that, which, I mean, that's not chump change. But here's the thing, right? Farming anywhere is tough. But up in Lahaul, you're dealing with like extreme weather, a shorter growing season.
Right, those high altitudes, the harsh winters, it's got to be incredibly challenging just to get anything to grow.
Totally. And then even if you have a bumper crop, you're still at the mercy of market prices, right? Like, what if the price of potatoes tanks? Suddenly that 20 lakhs isn't looking so good.
Oh, for sure. It's that constant uncertainty that farmers everywhere face. Yeah. But I guess in a place like Lahaul, it's amplified.
Oh, yeah. And let's not forget the livestock angle. Yaks, sheep. I mean, come on, that's not your typical farm diversification strategy.
Right. It makes you wonder about, like, who's buying those yaks? Where are they going? What's the market like? I mean, it's so different from anything most of us are familiar with.
Exactly. And it makes me realize, like, how little we probably know about the economic realities of a place like Lahaul. We see those, those pictures of the mountains, the villages, and we romanticize it.
But there's this whole other side to it, this complex web of work and survival and tradition that's invisible to most of us.
Yeah, and it's making me think about, like, all three of these lifestyles, right? The tech worker, the hotel owner, the farmer, they're all connected in some way.
Oh, totally. Like, maybe the tech worker in Kullu is designing a website for the hotel in Manali. Mm-hmm. Or an app that helps the farmer in Lahaul track, I don't know, weather patterns or something.
Right. It's like this ecosystem, right? They might seem separate, but they're all part of this larger fabric of life in Himachal Pradesh.
And it's not just the economics, right? What about, like, healthcare, education, social life? Those things must vary wildly between Kullu, Manali, and Lahaul.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Kullu, with its its tech scene, it might attract a younger, more mobile crowd. Manali, it's all about tourism, so you've got this constant influx of outsiders. And then Lahaul, it's probably much more traditional, much more rooted in local customs and community ties.
Right. So it's not just about, like, picking a job. It's about choosing a whole way of life. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating. It's not just about, understanding facts and figures. It's about stepping into someone else's shoes, even if it's just for a moment.
Yeah, totally. And I think that's what we're doing here, right? We're taking these sources, these snapshots of life in Himachal Pradesh, and we're trying to piece together a more complete picture.
Yeah, we're going beyond the postcard views and getting into the nitty-gritty, the everyday realities of what it actually means to live and work in these very different places.
And it's making me think, like, we've talked about the rewards, the potential income, the lifestyle perks, but we haven't really talked about the downsides.
Right. Every choice has its trade-offs, right?
Exactly. Like that tech job in Kullu, it sounds amazing, but what if you're ambitious? What if you want to climb the corporate ladder? Are those opportunities even available in a place like Kullu?
Good point. And the hotel owner in Manali, sure, they might be making bank, but they're also dealing with constant pressure, with the uncertainty of the tourism market. It's a high stakes game.
And the farmer in Lahaul, I mean, talk about vulnerability. They're at the mercy of the weather, the markets, the sheer physical demands of working the land in such a challenging environment.
Right. It's a reminder that there's no easy path, no guaranteed happy ending. Life anywhere is about navigating challenges, about making choices, and sometimes those choices involve sacrifice.
Yeah. It's not about finding the perfect place or the perfect job. It's about, like, figuring out what matters most to you and then finding a way to make it work wherever you are.
It's about priorities, right? What are you willing to give up, to compromise on in order to achieve what you want? And that's a question that everyone has to answer for themselves. And it's funny, right? We've been so focused on the work aspect, the economics of it all, that we kind of forgot about something pretty important.
Oh, you mean like the actual living part?
Exactly. Like,
yeah,
what about community, social life, access to healthcare, education? Those things matter too.
Totally. I mean, you can have the coolest job, the most beautiful view, but if you're, like, isolated, if you can't find a sense of belonging, it's not going to be enough.
Right. Like, imagine you're that farmer in Lahaul. You're miles from any major city. You're dealing with harsh weather, limited resources. What's the social life like? How do you connect with people?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I bet it's totally different in Kulu or Manali, right? Like Kulu with that tech scene, you're probably gonna find a younger, more cosmopolitan crowd.
Right. More events, more things to do. More people who are kind of in that same headspace,
Yeah.
you know, looking for that work-life balance, that connection to nature.
Yeah. Well, Manali, it's going to be a mix, right? You've got locals, you've got tourists, you've got seasonal workers. It's probably a lot more transient, more fast-paced.
Right. And then Lahore, well, it's probably a much more close-knit community, much
Yeah.
more traditional, more focused on family and those long-standing cultural ties.
Right. So it's like each place has its own vibe, its own rhythm. And that's something you got to factor in, right? When you're thinking about where you want to live, to build a life.
Exactly. It's not just about the job. It's like
Yeah.
it's about the whole package.
Yeah.
The work, the lifestyle, the community, the values.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be a good fit.
And that's where you, the listener, come in, right? We've given you these three glimpses into life in Himachal Pradesh, but it's up to you to decide what resonates with you.
Right. Like if you had to choose right now to pack your bags and move to one of these places, which would it be, and why?
What are your priorities? What are you looking for in a place, in a community?
Like maybe the peace and quiet of Kullu appeals to you, even if it means sacrificing some career ambitions.
Or maybe you're drawn to the energy, the hustle of Manali, even if it means taking on more risk, more pressure.
Or maybe it's the deep roots, the sense of history and tradition in Lahaul that calls to you, even if it means a simpler, a more isolated life.
It's all about like figuring out what matters most to you, and there's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's what makes these deep dives so rewarding, right? They're not about giving you answers. They're about asking questions, about challenging your assumptions, about getting you to think differently about the world, about yourself.
And ultimately, it's about appreciating the diversity, the complexity of human experience, the fact
Right.
that there are so many different ways to live a good life, a meaningful life.
And that those ways are constantly evolving, constantly changing, constantly adapting to the world around us.
So as we wrap up our virtual journey through Himachal Pradesh, a huge thank you to you, our listener, for coming along for the ride.
We hope you've learned something, you've been inspired, you've maybe even been challenged to rethink some of your own assumptions and beliefs.
And remember, keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep diving deep into the world around you.
Because that's what the deep dive is all about. And we'll be here ready for your next stack of sources whenever you are.